Welcome to the beautiful Burbank Blizzard Arena for another day of Overwatch League. We're kicking things off today with the LA Gladiators versus Paris Eternal. Should be a really good one. I'm very excited to see Paris again. Gladiators, of course, looking really good in their last match too, so I think we're in for a really tight one.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, my favorite match of the day, at least as in a preview sense, right?
Okay.
It's the one I was looking the most forward to because we've only seen that one match from the Paris Eternal so far, and they looked pretty darn good when they beat London.
What can I say? He likes goats.
I do. I love the goats.
Yep, that's right. So I think our key matchup is going to be one in the support role to take a look at here today. It's going to be Cruz versus Big Goose, Big Goose, a battle of the Lucios. Big Goose with the big boops.
And also the big speed boost that he's giving everybody on his team.
Goose.
There you go.
Exactly. Soon we'll see him too. There you go. But these guys have been great Lucios. They've both been very aggressive this year too, but Cruz has been doing it in a much more sort of measured way. He takes his moments, whereas Big Goose just wants to get in there and cause as much havoc as he possibly can. So it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, Big Goose is also leading the league in environmental kills right now at 11. So be sure to watch for some of those big plays coming from the Los Angeles Gladiators supports, which have been the bedrock of their team. Because remember, they don't get Decay, their new big star DPS signing, until next week.
That's true, but for now, cheer for him anyway. Give it up for the LA Gladiators.
Gladiator, 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 to fight with the gods and the giant slayer.
The LA Gladiators, a team that found a lot of success off of their main tank, Fissure, last year. Well, Fissure is gone now. They've got Roar in that position, and he has certainly been showing some rage, some animal magnetism in his recent play, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and he's also #2 overall when it comes to Reinhardt damage per 10 minutes. So he's actually been delivering. He's ready to rock again today. Give it one more shot. Yeah, exactly.
I see. Right.
So he's back, he's here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play a couple more games because I think he's shown that while he's not maybe the superstar level of Fissure, he is certainly an adequate and even better than adequate replacement for this roster.
All right, they have an opponent that will be tough to beat today for their only second time yet in the Overwatch League. Let's hear it for Paris Eternal. You like 3-3, Monty. You like something the kids call goats. Well, guess what? Paris Eternal may just be one of the top teams for you in this league. They looked great in their first series, but can they keep it up?
Yeah, don't let the cockerels on their jersey fool you. They're all about the goats, Noah.
True enough, yeah.
This is a team that came in, then we knew they were going to be strong in the triple tank and triple support metagame. And here they are, proving that they can defeat our defending champions, the London Spitfire, which turned out, I think in retrospect, to be easier than we thought it might be.
I was going to say, yeah, that's where the question comes in, right? Because they did take down London in fine form, but are they going to be able to show that same level against the Gladiators? I think this is going to be their real first challenge this year in the Overwatch League. So this is where we get to kind of truly see, I think, the strength that this team has to offer.
Yeah, now we can talk about some of the stats that we saw from last week, that we have at least a small sample size. And one of the impressive things about the Paris Eternal is that they're #2 in the league when it comes to winning fights after they've suffered the first elimination on their team. So when they're shorthanded, they're still winning 25%, excuse me, of their team fights, which puts them at #2 overall.
Let's check out our map list sponsored by Toyota, of course. See where these teams are going to duke it out. They're going to start off on Nepal, then Nimbani, Anubis, and finally Dorado for our escort map in the end. But you're right. I mean, it is really interesting to hear that stat, but it makes sense because the way that Paris Eternal was playing was such a tight, sort of patient style, right?
Yes.
They didn't tend to get over-aggressive, which I think the Gladiators kind of fell afoul of once in a while. So it's going to be sort of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object in a certain situation between these two teams, I think.
Yeah, and even though we've seen 3 matches in total, 2 from the Gladiators, 1 from the Eternal so far in the league, actually neither team has played any of the maps in this pool. So it's going to be very interesting. It will be a new test and a new look for both the Gladiators and the Eternal.
One thing's for sure, it's going to be a lot of 3-3 today. It's going to be a lot of triple tank, triple support. It's going to be a lot of that in the meta in general, but with these two teams, I think more than most.
Yeah, Paris also hasn't made any substitutions yet when it comes to players, so I'm wondering if they are going to mix up their roster and show us some of their depth today.
Maybe.
Now, Gladiators, I think they should be probably on some of these maps going back to the Sombra style of play that proved effective when London ran guard against the Paris Eternal.
I mean, I think the Sombra is huge in the 3-3 meta, of course, but here we go. Starting out on Village, Paris Eternal versus LA Gladiators. Paris makes the point first. It's on the Gladiators to try to knock them off of it. Cruz, of course, going to be a player you're going to want to watch today on that Lucio.
Yeah, the May coming out for soon as well. And this is important because it's going to be hard for them not to get isolated just like that. 2 members of the Gladiators outside the wall.
I mean, Roar caught off as well, eliminated. Now the Gladiators fighting short-handed here. Hydration getting a little bit low. Paris trying to collapse on him. They're going to settle for taking the point first, and I think that was smart for the Gladiators to back off there.
I think the Gladiators need to make some sort of change right now because trying to play without the May into this is going to be difficult. Even if you have that speed boost, you still are going to get bisected on these entry points to the control by that May wall. They're trying to get in right now. They're trying to bait the wall out. That's why they feinted, but they're not going to make it happen.
Split again, but this time Roar gets the first kill. Both Reinhardts going down on the team here. They're trading blows left and right. Surefour gets frozen. Can they finish him off? It looks like they do have to put Soon in the ice block for the moment anyway. Hydration, though, under threat. Finzi finishes him off. Finzi getting a lot of kills at the end there. And Paris manages to hold, but I think you're right. The reason why you run the May on this point is with the narrow points of entry to the actual point itself, you can really easily split a team up with that May wall.
And there's 2 ways you can deal with this. A lot of teams will play Pharah here on Village to shoot rockets in and try and poke them out. But Gladiators could feasibly also switch over to an Ana right now. That way they get anti-heal with a Bionade into the point, and then they wouldn't matter as much if they're missing a couple of their members.
Sure enough, they got options, but for now, no changes here. Nearly losing hydration as they approach the point. Gladiators need a big team fight win. They need it now. Gonna be the rally from Nico on Paris. As they kind of prepare, Gladiators waiting the armor out. After that, Brigida ultimate is down. They'll probably try to go in. There we go. Roar trying to get in. Oh, bigger shatter, but the Maywall just in time. They can't quite capitalize. Gives Paris the opportunity to drop that sound barrier. Gladiators using their own Lucio out there as well, but now they're caught up in the May ultimate, and that is going to be another win for Paris, it looks like, in this team fight. Man, what a Maywall. That absolutely saved the Eternal.
Soon is performing at a very high level this season. His Zarya has been very good, but now he's coming out with a different hero pickup on the May, and Gladiators, they needed to make an adjustment. There's Shaz switching over to the Ana now. I think they got greedy.
Though, isn't it?
They wanted the trance on that last fight, so they were unwilling to switch, but I think this was the play they had to make, and they're not even going to get there, Doa.
That's the thing. I mean, you make that swap, but it's a little bit too late. Paris Eternal taking that first point with ease, maybe surprising Gladiators a little bit with that May. But you shouldn't be that surprised. You see it on that point so much. We'll see what the Gladiators have to respond with right after this. Welcome back to Nepal. Paris, 1 matchup. We're going to Shrine. You and I were talking about the possible Pharah swap that Gladiators chose not to do in the first point. What do you think that would have given them?
I think you have to play both sides of the point in Village if you're going to do that, so you can force the May wall. Gladiators were still trying to come for one angle, and what that means is it says that you're expecting the May player to make a mistake, which is not the way to play that point.
Well, Soon's not going to do that. Cruz lurking above. You see both Lucios bouncing around on the walls, looking for those chances to knock the tanks away, or to knock the tank into their own team, too. On board with Cruz now. Ben Best down. They did get that separation they were looking for here, and it's a good start for Gladiators. That's what they were kind of looking for on that last one. You isolate the tanks, usually the Reinhardt, and you kind of roll your way to a victory off of that one.
Yeah, Soon actually might be staying alive here, which is huge, going to keep a lot of that Zarya charge. So not the worst case scenario here for the Paris Eternal. They're only going to give up about 20%. They're regrouping now. They're going to be coming around the flank once again. Everybody moving up here.
Gladiators a little bit ahead in ult economy, but if Paris plays this one out slow, they might be able to take a fight with something remotely similar, but
it's just about a little bit of poking right now from Paris, and they'll be in a very good situation as well. The ult economy is about even, about a 10% difference.
It's going to be the rally coming in from Gladiators. Gladiators hit the go button here. They're getting aggressive. Now the Graviton Surge gets eaten by Void. Paris loses a big tool to try to turn this fight around, but they do kill Roar. So an opportunity here Hydration down, and it looks like on the back of that Transcendence, Paris able to keep people alive enough to bully their way onto the point. That grab getting eaten, though, that was a scary moment for Paris, but they're able to turn it into a win anyway.
I mean, that's the thing about Paris that we saw against the London Spitfire. They are so disciplined about their disengages. The rally came in because the Gladiators were trying to push a very small window of ultimate advantage that they knew they were going to have. Paris doesn't get baited into it. They give up a few more percent points on the control point in exchange just to take it in the end and actually win that fight via the disengage.
Sure enough, Surefour on the verge of getting his grab. He has it now. Zarya ultimate ready to go as they think about dropping down from the high ground here. Ben Best on the Paris side needs a good Earth Shatter out of this one, but they do have a couple ultimates to utilize. Surefour going in, doesn't want to get his grab eaten. Paris, though, just trying to buy as much time as they can. Oh, and another grab eaten. 2 grabs in a row, 1 for each team. But that doesn't matter. Gladiators going in anyway. They're going to get soon, and they're going to cut off Ben Best as well. Earthshatter not even really needed as Roar doesn't connect with anyone, but the fight is won for Gladiators already. That's kind of ridiculous that we just saw 2 grabs get eaten, but the team that lost the ultimate won the fight.
Yeah, and also, you know, when we see Soon and other Zaryas falling first, I've been looking at a lot of data in this league, and right now, if your Zarya is the first death in a fight, statistically, you only win that fight about 5.9% of the time because you lose a lot of your bubbles, obviously your shields, and a lot of the damage in the triple tank, triple support is coming out of the Zarya. So losing her first is by far the worst hero to lose first in an engagement.
Very true. Soon now with another grab. Are we going to get 1 out of 3 grabs? Come on, man. Don't get eaten. There we go. It goes off anyway. They got Gladiators locked up by the pillar. Finzi with the self-destruct. Grabs 3. And that's exactly what you want if you're the Paris Eternal. Finally, the Big Bang combo comes together. We should say Bigger Bang, really. And Paris going to reclaim the point. Gladiators at 91%, so they are 1 fight win away from possibly tying things up on Nepal, but Paris with the advantage for now.
And they're going to keep that advantage for a little bit. Gladiators use a lot of their ult economy in order to lose that last fight. It's been a little bit weird, as you say, with the teams that have gotten their grabs eaten winning the fight so far.
Yeah. Graviton Surge, all part of your balanced breakfast here at the Overwatch League.
Delicious. I love black holes in the morning.
That's right. There you go. It's going to be an Earth Shatter for Paris Eternal. Going to try to knock some people down on the stairs, but Gladiators able to back off and stay alive through that one. Roar at about half health, though. Needs to be careful. Hips got the Discord Orb on him. That extra damage. Waiting to use that Transcendence. Now as the grab comes in from Gladiators, that's exactly what it's going to do. They lose Soon first anyway. Ben Best soon to follow it. That's going to be a fight the Gladiators will take pretty easily. Like we said, if that Zarya goes down first, that's the team that's probably not going to come out on top in the fight. We're seeing it again right now. 99% for Paris.
Oh, they got Finzi actually before he can remake and cruise before he can touch the point.
That's rough, man. It's going to be Gladiators probably claiming things on Shrine soon with the switch over to Sombra to try to keep things alive, but they do find him. Translocates out, but he at least forces overtime, and there goes Ben Best, not even able to approach the point. So it seems with Paris filtering in here 1 hero at a time, this point's going to go the way of the Gladiators.
It sure does seem that way, Toa. Gladiators should be able to hold this one out, even as Paris somehow is keeping this one alive with the sound barrier.
They use that sound barrier. It's all a matter of time, though, and Gladiators will tie things up here on Nepal.
Nicely done by the Gladiators. That just a little percent that they managed to eke out at the very beginning turned out to be very consequential for them. Paris tried to back off and regroup as fast as possible, but getting that point first is such an insane advantage in control.
Yeah, true enough. Ben Best. I mean, what do? You got to walk up and do something, right?
Nothing you can do, really. Shaz just cleaning it up, and you know, Shaz and Big Goose, I think, have been the outstanding players here for the LA Gladiators so far.
Always feels good when you're the Zenyatta player and you get those open shots with the right click where they're not hiding behind the corner. There's no shields in the way. You're like, all right, I know I can land this one. Feels good.
One thing about Shaz, too, is he's actually number 2 in the league right now when it comes to damage amplification off of Discord Orb. And really what that tells us is that the shot calling and the target selection of the Gladiators is on point. They're maximizing the amount of damage they can get from that ability.
Important thing, Roar down early. Good start for Paris as they kind of roll through Gladiators without any trouble. Goodbye, Void. Hope he's got skis on because he's got a long mountain to go down. Paris is going to take the point first here. But you're absolutely right, though. Going back to talking about Chaz and that damage boosted, I mean, that's kind of a tip for anybody that plays Zenyatta out there. It's like the most important thing you can do is in comms in your ranked games is tell people who you've got the Discord orb on.
Yep,
as a Zenyatta main, like that's huge, man. It's easy for your team to follow up on that, unless they're all playing, you know, Torbjorn or something. What can you do? Gladiators trying to approach the point again. Paris building their control percent pretty rapidly here. Benbest low. Ooh, they got to keep him alive. That's vital. Goes back in now. Got the shield again. Right onto hydration. They're going to be able to change that into a kill. Looks like Gladiators will be held at the door, more or less. And the chase comes in from Paris. So that's going to be Paris just with firm control of the point for now.
Paris, you can tell how impressive Paris's comms are by that fight. Benbest backs off to the point, comes in at 50% HP because that's soon calling for the bubble right there. So he knows he's going to have that protection, and that bubble will give him enough time to get healed off of the Inspire from Nico.
Yeah.
So that's just really good limits and understanding of how to play in this metagame.
Soon with the Graviton Surge. Paris Eternal, look at those ults, man. They are way ahead of the Gladiators right now. LA will have some coming online soon, but this should be Paris's fight here. If they can do it, we'll see. Rally comes in, soon waiting for an opportunity. Hydration, giving his team that extra armor, but again, you know, when you see that rally come in, you just back off and kind of let it run out. And Paris, as soon as that armor starts to go away, all over the Gladiators. 2 easy kills. And they're going to hold this one. Man, Gladiators looking like they might just get shut out here on Sanctum unless they come up with something big real soon.
Paris just abused Roar's jump cooldown very hard. They forced him to jump onto the point to at least start the contest, and then they just drove a wedge between him and the rest of his team. Hydration gets booped off of the map while rallying by Cruz. So big play there by Cruz to deny a lot of that armor.
Here we go. Grab gets eaten by Void. All right. Soon not making anything happen with that ultimate. Now the self-destruct comes in for both teams. It's going to give Gladiators an opportunity to at least get through the doorway, try to get the point right now. Another grab gets eaten. Are you kidding me? 4 out of 5 grabs, I think it is, on this map. Insanity. Paris Eternal scrambling to try to hold this one. They do have the sound barrier. They do have Benbest with the primal rage, but Roar striking right back again. Gladiators doing everything they can, and
Roar with another
they
one.
are coming up big in this fight. Cruz can't quite stop it. Gladiators finally flip it. Wow. Insanity, man.
A lot of environmental kills so far on this map. 4, I believe, so far between the tanks and Cruz. And that's going to mean the Gladiators are able to actually clutch it out in the end. Paris has not been playing the choke point. In these defenses, they've been playing pretty passively and waiting for Gladiators to come to the point first. That time it doesn't work out. They set themselves up to get booped straight into the pit by Roar.
Paris Eternal trying to get back in and win this map now. They can be patient with this. Gladiators have a lot of percentage they need to build before they're a real threat here. Paris not wasting any time. They're going to have to dodge that self-destruct, though. Goes over the wall. No kills out of that one, though, but Finzi does get pushed back. It's going to be a kill onto him, so at least for the Gladiators, it's split Paris up enough, and that's Benbest leaping to his doom. Kind of a quicker reset there, I guess, than walking all the way back and waiting for his team.
Paris is very decisive. When they decide to reset or retreat, they almost always can do it nearly perfectly as in unison. So they're listening to their shot calls. That means they get a little bit more time.
My question is, who in the world puts a pit like this in their sanctum? Like, that is just, that's just a safety hazard. Oh, Big Goose on high. Looks like he's about to fly south through the winter. Coming down, going for the boop, doesn't quite get it. You gotta watch out for that guy, though. Big Goose always lurks above. He's like the Batman of the Overwatch League. Shaz gets caught with that self-destruct, though. Chance here for Paris. Oh, no! No, hit gets knocked off by Roar mid-transcendence. And Gladiators, they're holding this, man. They're almost at 90% here. Paris, if you are the Eternal, you are sweating right now. There goes Soon. Roar finally taken out, but Gladiators still coming on top with this fight. Another grab comes in. 97%, 98 for Gladiators. Are you kidding me? Can they actually do it? Overtime forced. If they can just keep Paris out, they can win the map. What a comeback that would be. Can they get there? They can't. That's gonna be Gladiators coming up big. Wow, what a map for LA.
And credit to Roar for winning Sanctum. Multiple environmental eliminations on crucial targets, including a trancing Zenyatta to really pull out that win for LA.
That is huge. What a crazy map. We're in for a good series. We'll see you on the next map right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, forget Lucio O's, man. Graviton Surges is what everybody's having for breakfast on this Saturday morning, I guess. There was 4 grabs eaten in that last map. That was kind of crazy. I'm not sure if that's like subpar Zarya play or just like really good Diva play.
I mean, it is a little bit of both.
Maybe,
Obviously,
yeah.
You can't take one without the other, I think, in those
Sure
circumstances. But what was really interesting to me was that when we saw Paris not playing triple tank, triple support, when Soon was on the Mei, that is when they were really doing well on the points.
Yeah.
And as soon as they got into the mirror versus the Gladiators, that's when the Gladiators were able to bring it on back and take the win in that control map. So that's a very good sign for the Gladiators, who I think are going to be moving over to some Sombra play, which we saw trip up the Eternal when they played against London.
I mean, we know from last season just what an enormous threat Surefour is on that Sombra. So if you're the Gladiators, of course you're going to be bringing that in against a team like Paris Eternal. And when you compare the Winstons in the last map too, I really got to say, Roar definitely looked like the better Winston in those compositions, and that might be a problem for Paris going forward, you know?
Yeah, it might be, especially on Numbani, which is a map that really prioritized the Winston 3 tank, 3 supports on the defense, because you need that mobility.
I was going to say, this is another map where you're probably going to see a lot of that Winston 3-3, but that said, Gladiators starting things out on their attack with the Reinhardt. No Sombra showing yet. Paris, meanwhile, is going to start out with the Winston.
Yeah, you have
they
to.
were expecting that, yeah.
You have to play the Winston really on the defense, I
Like
think,
it's done.
in standard, just because you need that mobility between the platforms. Reinhardt more common on the attack.
Yeah, Roar got knocked off the high ground really fast there. That left Big Goose a little bit exposed. They do kill Ben Best, though, so Gladiators trading 1 for 1, and they've still got their tanks, so they're going to be able to roll on to point A here. Cruz up on high, might decide to go after Shaz here. Yeah, that's a 1v2, but Nico claims the kill before Cruz even gets there. That said, Paris Eternal still really struggling to hold this point. 1 tick given up to the Gladiators already. And you might be able to stall for a bit more time here if you're Paris, but I think this point's going pretty quickly over to LA.
It is, and that's, that's the difficult thing about playing that Winston on the defense, Stoa, is that you can't let the Reinhardt 3-3 team get on the point, because it's become so much more difficult to use your mobility to split them up at that stage. You have to split them as they're coming through choke points or doors. That's when you're able to do the most damage, and that means, of course, that Ben Best is not going to be playing the Winston anymore now that that point is gone, and we go into the true 3-3 mirror.
I mean, initially, I thought that looked pretty good for Paris because they did get Raw off the high ground so fast, and they did have that 65. And oh, Earthshatter comes in. That's a lot of people knocked down, and that is a big self-destruct for Void. Wow, that was just a clean Earthshatter, man. They just caught Paris totally unawares. Reinhardt mind games, 1 hardcore there, man. What can you say?
Just walking up on him with the shatter. I mean, that's just brutal, right? You don't have to commit your Graviton Surge to that.
I don't know. Sometimes
Void follows up instantly.
Sometimes you're looking at that Reinhardt coming at you and you think, oh man, I've made a terrible mistake. You realize he has ultimate right as it comes down and there's nothing you can do. And that self-destruct comes in and Paris paying for it. A lot of extra distance gained by Gladiators. They are really rolling through these points quickly. That big goose knocks soon off the high ground here. Gladiators having to back up a little bit. Hip does kill Shaz, so it is a 6v5 again in favor of Paris as they start to push Gladiators back a little bit. And there's a great boop knocking Roar into the rest of the Eternal team. And that's going to be an easy team fight win for Paris, finally getting a little bit of breathing room here on point B.
Yeah, that's going to be a great play there. It's just Hip got the right click coming in to start that fight, and because Gladiators had such a long distance to go back to spawn, they get an additional kill onto the Gladiators front line. Paris capitalizing off of a lucky pick.
Absolutely. Gladiators regrouping now. Paris Eternal with seemingly a little bit of an ult advantage here. Fairly even, actually. Gladiators do have a few more coming up soon. So when the fight actually begins, it'll be about even. Rally comes in on the Gladiators side. They're going to move forward with that extra armor. Now they get caught up in the Graviton Surge. Here comes the self-destruct. Anything out of that one? No, not quite. It's going to be the sound barrier now for Paris. Oh, nice Earth Shatter again. Void knocked prone. Can they follow up, though? They do get the kill on Big Goose Hydration. Going to be soon to follow. Ooh, he's got like 5 health. They finally finish him off, and Paris again holding on the defense here.
Paris is just so patient in this meta, though. They're willing to wait out these rallies. They throw out the Graviton and the self-destruct to see if they can pick up the kills, and that forces Gladiators to get even more ultimates committed on the defense. But Surefour fragging out is going to push this through.
Surefour and Shaz just decided to walk up and take the rest of point B. Void crucially stayed in his mech during that fight, too. So there was a couple members of Gladiators, the exact ones they needed alive, stayed alive, and that's kind of a pretty surprising turnaround in that fight for LA.
Yeah, the survivability of the Zarya is so important because once you're already charged up, you can win a lot of engagements on even with a player down.
Yeah. Here we go again. Benbest charging in. Looking to build up some more Earth Shatter charge right now. All right, Graviton Surge use it. Got Benbest in there. They're going to send in the self-destruct. Paris flees, but nope. Not going to get caught by that. They do kill Ben Best anyway. That's the kill the Gladiators were looking for. They're going to be able to keep moving forward here. Paris kind of falling apart on the defense here.
Yeah, they are, making it look easy too. Gladiators just committing the Graviton Surge and the self-destruct. They realized Ben Best was too far in front, so they don't mind using that solo Graviton Surge because they are still able to move the card afterwards.
I'm sure for pulling out the emotes now. They're feeling pretty comfortable with this push. Still over 3 minutes left in the time bank as Paris goes for one last ditch defense here at the very end of the attack run for Gladiators. But look at all the ultimate on the Gladiators side. Earthshatter comes in from Roar, doesn't catch anybody. They've got more to use though. Gotta watch out. There's the Graviton Surge. They don't get anybody with the grab on the Paris side. Oh, but that is another nice self-destruct by Finzi. Gets a bit. Big Goose Sound Barrier coming up big here. Now Shaz gonna try to push forward with that Transcendence. They get Ben Best, another big kill down, but they gotta keep Roar alive, down to sub 50% health. I think they've got, oh, but now they've got the sound barrier on the side of Paris, and that's going to be enough to roll the Gladiators back. So just that later sound barrier, giving the durability to the Paris Eternal there.
I mean, Gladiators are going to be happy, though. They got the rally and the sound barrier out at the end of that engagement. Maybe not even necessary for either of those ults to come out from Paris. And now Gladiators, they're just going to back off. They didn't have to commit anything at all to trade for those.
They've got a lot of time in the time bank, too. So you can, even if you finish Nimbani with like a minute 30 left on the clock, you're going to be pretty pleased with that.
But Gladiators know now that there's 0 support ults on the Paris Eternal side.
Right.
Surefour is going to be up in a Graviton very soon. That means that, of course, the self-destruct and Graviton combo is going to be even more effective without any healing or shields in order to block it.
Soon needs a good grab here. It's the only ultimate that Paris has. They need to really get a ton out of it. Gladiators rotating around the backside of the cart right now. Deciding to turn things around, possibly. Earthshatter comes through again, still waiting for that Surefour grab though. Soon waiting for his opportunity. Roar goes down. Gladiators, they looked a little bit timid on this engage. They do finally take down Nico, the 5v5, but here comes Suit's Graviton Surge, and now Nico tosses in the self-destruct. It's gonna be Surefour caught by that, and Gladiators, oh man, they use the Transcendence there too. That's a rough one for LA. A minute remaining, and now they do not have those resources that they used to have. A few ultimates. I guess they still have the sound barrier coming up, but they really would have liked to win it right there.
I mean, the problem is that because Roar died so early in that fight, they really didn't have an opportunity to follow up with the Graviton Surge.
Right.
And that means Paris Eternal now is the sound barrier, which is the ult you want most when you're trying to deal with this combo, because it gives you the 800 overshield in order to survive the D.Va self-destruct damage.
Yeah, Gladiators still does have that combo. They're gonna have to find a way to make sure Cruz can't pop that ultimate if they want to make it work. Hip now has his Transcendence too, so full support ultimates up and running. Earthshatter, nothing for Ben Best. That's going to be the sound barrier for Gladiators as they go in. Lucio ult on the other side for Paris, responding in kind. Surefour waiting for it, looking for that chance to grab a Roar down again. He's going to go for it anyway. Oh no, and he gets taken out. They're using everything here. Can't get anyone with that self-destruct either. Hip there with the Transcendence to heal up any damage that's been taken. It's a brawl. Everybody's throwing everything into that. I saw the kitchen sink go through there, I'm pretty sure too. Finzi grabs two with the self-destruct, and it looks like Paris will hold the Gladiators right here. Man, what a crazy end to that one. But when it came down to it, the Gladiators just could not keep Roar alive in those last few pushes.
No, they couldn't, and they tried to bait the sound barrier out by using one of their own on the attack. Didn't work again because Roar died. That meant that they couldn't follow up with their combo.
Paris goes on the attack right after this. The patience of Paris comes up big time on that defense, man. I mean, they were pushed to the very limit. You can see that payload from the Gladiators was basically there. So close. But Paris doing what we found they are very good at doing, is being a very patient, very calm team. And they really kind of took advantage of, I would say, the kind of over-eagerness for the Gladiators at the end of that last round.
Yeah, I think we can say that if Nepal, we were talking about Roar and the Winston battle being won by the Gladiators, really when it's come down to this Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, Paris has been winning in the trenches, and they're playing the front line better. Roar is not getting the healing that he needs in order to stay alive, and that means that their Gladiators are constantly playing from a deficit.
It's rough, for sure. Paris on the attack. Ben Best swapping over to the Reinhardt. Was thinking about the Winston, decided to change it at the last minute. It is going to be on the Reinhardt for the Gladiators now. Surprising. Roar, you know, like you just said, and I agree with, kind of losing out on that Reinhardt versus Reinhardt mirror. Now going for it again, down to about 2/3 health already. Paris Eternal just walking right up the street.
And this is what happens when you see the Rhine mirror. You don't want to go through the choke. You go through the bigger area, and then you just have confidence that you're going to win here on the point.
Then you really kind of look for your Lucios to boop their Reinhardt into your team and try to burn him down before he gets any healing.
Oh, they actually
Paris
displaced them.
rotating.
Let's see if they can get up through this doorway faster.
I don't know. It's going to be tough to rush
Nope.
there. Roar does take down Cruz. I mean, the thing is, you get a fire strike through that hallway. That's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you got a defensive matrix that,
Yeah.
Noah. Like, you need to cover yourself with your D.Va matrix as you go through. That is not probably elimination that should have happened on the Paris side.
And you have to expect that fire strike is going to be coming through that hallway, too. Every single Reinhardt in the world, from like Bronze League up, honestly, is going to be doing that on this map. Paris Eternal walking up the street again, deciding to just go up the middle one more time. Cruz does knock Void down on the low ground here. Hydration really low. Roar taking a lot of damage as well. They're going to dive in on him. They get him. Roar once again goes down before the Transcendence is used. Hydration a little bit late on the trigger with that one, and now Soon goes ahead and throws the Graviton Surge in, and that's a clean fight for Paris, and they will take point A. It was the same thing we saw in the other round, man. They find Roar, they're able to kill him off before Gladiators can respond every time.
And guess who spawned in front? It might be a bad
Roar.
situation for Roar here. Can they get him before he gets back in? No, they cannot. Oh, they do.
They do, yeah.
Eventually.
They do.
Eventually, they are able to pick up that elimination. And can they get out without more losses will be the question as they are chased down by the Gladiators.
I mean, Surefour gets one on the other side, and Paris isn't pushing the payload right now. They just wanted to clear things out a little bit ahead, take advantage of Roar being pushed up a little bit too far, but when it all kind of ends up, it goes about even. The payload didn't move. Roar gets to get back to the fight.
I mean, the thing, though, is that Paris created a lot of space for themselves because basically the Gladiators had to back off from that, and they can't contest the payload as quickly as they would like.
A lot of ultimates on the side of the Gladiators. Paris is going to have a few more coming up themselves soon. Rally comes in now, as you can hear. And there we go, another grab now for the Gladiators. Boyd uses that self-destruct. Oh, this. Okay. All right, man. That is Lucio's in action. Big Goose coming up the big boop again to set two people up to get hit by that self-destruct. That's going to be Gladiators taking a little bit of a firmer stance on the defense here.
Just giving them a polite little nudge straight into the exploding Diva mech to make sure that you get those kills. And Paris Eternal now resetting their ult economy, basically. Rally isn't going to do much for you in this engagement, especially compared to a Transcendence on the side of the Gladiators.
Indeed, Nico very close. There's that Rally now. They've got a little bit extra armor in there anyway. Transcendence now for Gladiators. They're going to get aggressive themselves, trying to push Paris off the payload.
Yeah, but that's smart from Paris. Again, they do back off and wait for the trance to be over because that Rally armor is still going to be there. So as long as you can avoid the fight with the trance itself, you're in better shape.
It doesn't last as long as it used to, as in it's not infinite, but you still do have that for a push soon afterwards, and that's exactly what Parrot does. There goes Big Goose. Ben Best with the fire strike. Big Goose getting a little bit out of position. There's Roar as well. And now Gladiators starting to fall apart a little bit more. They don't have the ult combos. They're going to give up point B. Everybody's yelling die on the payload and comms right now, I'm sure. And they're just going to delay it as long as they can. Paris Eternal takes B, though.
Now 4 minutes for Paris, but Gladiators had a lot of time, too, to work out this point C attack, and they never managed to crack the defense. So can Paris actually make this work right now? Gladiators are about even when it comes to the ult economy. We're watching soon because of the Graviton Surge. Surefour will also have his.
Just got to watch for Roar. They're going to be targeting Roar every single time. You can see he's down to half health already. Gets caught in the Graviton Surge. Here comes the self-destruct. Oh, it's a big Earth Shatter. No kills out of that one, though. Paris laid low, but the Graviton bought them some time, and now they're going to go in with their own Earth Shatter. Ben Best dropping it, forces Gladiators to back off a bit, and there goes Big Goose in hydration. 2 supports down. Roar just charges through, doesn't even complete the charge.
And it's only Surefour left standing
Ouch.
at the end of things
Ouch.
because of how many eliminations Hip and Ben Best have been getting this map. Now they can go ahead and camp the spawn doors, force Gladiators to come the long way around. Hydration holding down the fort was Surefour, but he's got to be careful. Hydration already low.
Hold the door, hold the door. That's what the Paris Eternal are saying right now, but Gladiator's going to break out in the end anyway for one last fight. But Roar, first to die again, getting an uppercut from the Lucio. Void self-destruct, catching Nico, but they needed more than that. Big Goose down, grab used. They got to get Void off that payload. Paris nearly there, inches away, less than a meter, and that's it. Paris Eternal will tie up this series.
Very nicely done, and now we know a couple of things. Winston 3-3, advantage Gladiators. Reinhardt 3-3, advantage Eternal. How are we going to see these teams adjust at halftime? Should be interesting.
Should be fine. We'll see you right after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
After dropping the first control map, Paris comes storming back to tie things up. It's all 1-1 here in the Blizzard Arena. You guys having fun? Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. We got a packed house. I'm Puckett. You know the crew. It's halftime. We got Soe. We've got Bren in a 1-1 series. Bren, were you surprised coming into half? See this all tied up?
Yeah, I was a little bit, honestly, because I was expecting Paris to be the more dominant team, but it's interesting to see the LA Gladiators. You know, they do have triple tank, triple support in their arsenal. They're playing it very well.
Well, it looked like Paris was off to a hot start. Gladiators, though, steal map 1. Soe, kick us off with the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Nepal was as close as you can get. We had two 99-99 scenarios. I love what Paris was playing there early on with
This
that
was
May
sick.
on Soon. He did absolutely amazing. He used those walls so nicely to basically split the enemy team. And they got a lot of good team fights out of that. But as I said, in the end, the Gladiators did manage to edge it out. We saw so many good shatters.
Yeah, well, it was the ice walls in particular is what I was a huge fan of. This May strategy of including it in like the tank-based composition is something that the European teams have been doing for quite some time. They really do highly rate it. Ended up taking that first round. The Gladiators managed to answer back. They seem to be able to really they do have a very good understanding right now of how to play the triple tank, triple supports. But the real killer here for me is this guy, Raw, on the Winston. He pretty much single-handedly won them this final round here with his environmental kills alone. He was insane. He got so much value out of his primal rage.
Is that a trance?
Yeah, and he managed just to make it.
And there it goes.
It's actually absurd. Genuinely absurd.
There were actually overall of the 7 environmental kills on that Nepal round, and that's quite a lot.
That's
now,
a lot.
as we got into Numbani, though, this is where I thought, all right, Gladiators are going up 2-0. They were looking really clean throughout the streets, but then it was Paris holding them strong at the end of their attack.
Yep, absolutely was. And I think this comes down to, as well, Paris kind of just cleaning up their play. Control as a game mode can be a little bit sloppy at times as well, can be a little bit hectic, hard to execute a lot of these combos, but Paris are on the point with a lot of their combinations when it comes to using their ultimates together. Here's the comparison between the two main tanks that we were talking about earlier. As you can see, the main thing I want to point your attention to is the environmental kills here. 3-1, that was the main difference maker when it comes to that first map between Raw and Benbest. But both main tanks are performing to a very high level, so I have been impressed with this game so far.
And that's what I want us to keep our eyes on in the second half, ladies and gentlemen, is these main tanks are not only picking up eliminations, some huge map knockoffs, but they're also setting up their teammates. Let's talk about alt combos and how these main tanks are helping out the rest of the team.
I mean, a well-placed shatter goes a long way to set the bombs on, but at the moment, it's actually really, really hard to land a good shatter which catches more than 2 people. That's why it's all the more impressive to see this happening time and time again.
Yeah, this is all down to a lot of the supports as well. You can see the big boot comes in last minute here. These big plays are being set up by the main supports. The Lucios, the Brigitte players, these are the real key players. So whilst it looks like a lot of it is the main tanks, a lot of it's the Diva players, yes, they had a big part of it, but we need to give credit as well to those support players because it's them that are really causing these kills to come in at the end clutch for their teams.
All right, that's going to do it for us here at halftime. Real quick, though, I got to check the pulse here of our audience. Where are the Paris fans at? Eternal strong. And who's here cheering on the Gladiators in their hometown tonight?
That's a surprise.
It's all purple here in the Blizzard Arena. Don't go anywhere. More Overwatch League when we come back.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. LA Gladiators versus Paris Eternal, 1-1 right now. It's been an exciting match. Doa and MonteCristo here, and I think the most interesting thing out of those first two maps has been that we've had one Reinhardt, clearly superior in Benbest, and one Winston, clearly superior in Roar. So going forward, you know, which of these maps do you think favors these teams now?
Well, I think we may see on point A some more of that Winston play, but it is really dominated by 3-3 on Anubis on point B with the Reinhardt.
True.
So it is going to be interesting. I'd love to see some more strategies here from the Gladiators. I'd love to see them try to mix it up. They do have very large hero pools for their DPS players in Surefour and Hydration, and now's the time to pull them out because you probably aren't really liking your look if you're trying to play a perfect mirror in that Reinhardt, but you've got so many other tricks you can pull out if you're the Gladiators. Why limit yourself? Just one thing, and guess what? Who's ready for a classic Anubis A defense?
I know you're going to be happy about this.
I've been advocating this for so long.
I'll give you guys a glimpse into the mind of MonteCristo as we get things started here. Like, whenever we see Anubis, he always yells, "Play Orisa, you cowards," at the screen. They're finally doing it. Gladiators doing a Surefour on that Widowmaker. Pulling him up with the Halt. The Orisa trying to find him that headshot. Can't quite do it. Surefour likes to wave. He's a very friendly guy.
All right, so 5 players in right now. Nico going to be delayed.
A good
coming in late on the Widowmaker. They're running the Moira now, the Paris Eternal, so they can have that extra healing when they're clustered up, and particularly when they get the point.
Yeah,
but Surefour is going to be difficult to stop right now, and we do have Void actually chasing after that Widowmaker, but he's going to get teambacked. He went too deep.
Yeah, that's true. Out of the mech right now, they didn't get the kill. Maybe has a chance to get back in, but now Paris, if they rush, they might be able to take advantage of the fact that there is no Diva on the side of Paris Eternal for all intents and purposes. Just that Bunny Blaster, much less to worry about. They're going to send the orb through with the Moira. Now Nico in the back lines looking for that kill into Void, trying to get hydration now. Surefour taking that Widow battle. Well, Void did get his mech back. That's huge. Meanwhile, supports do go down on each side. Paris Eternal pressuring the point right now. Benbest swinging away onto Roar. Roar getting very, very low hydration. Trying to do damage, but he hasn't been able to really finish anybody off. He's a Junkrat alone right now, and it doesn't look like he's going to have his tire in time to make a difference. Now he's gone, and there goes Void as well. So point A looking pretty Paris favored right now.
I love that defense, Doa, but I don't love the way the Gladiators play it. Void went way too deep trying to deal with the Widowmaker. You can ignore that Widowmaker. All you have to do is take high ground with your Junkrat and your own Widow. Remember, Surefour can just sit behind that Orisa shield. Nico never has that opportunity. So there's really no point to going deep and playing against the Widow. Paris tried to mix it up by throwing that Widow into what would normally be a 3-3 composition, and Gladiator sort of took the bait there.
Yeah, very true. They've got the Coalescence for Hip. A lot more ultimates coming out for Paris right now. It's going to be the tire going into the tiny side room. Can they get anybody? Finds Cruz with it, so that's one. And Gladiators will be able to maybe push Paris back a bit. They're going to dedicate the Coalescence to this Moira ultimate coming in. They're not done yet. They've got the Graviton Surge. They decide that they can just go in without their Lucio right now. They drop the grab. No concern there. Roar a little bit low. Self-destruct does catch Roar. He couldn't get his shield turned around in time. Shaz goes ahead and uses that Transcendence, but it's too late to really benefit the Gladiators at all. And man, Paris just steamrolling this map so far. Gotta watch out for the self-destruct. They do it. Benbest gets a shield of hit time, and Shaz finds himself in the middle of the Paris team trying to blend in, but it's tough, man. They got different skins going on, you know? The team colors kind of give it away a bit. Paris Eternal absolutely wrecking Gladiators right now. The Hammond is out. It's not looking good for the LA side, though.
It certainly isn't, Doa, and this is the price you pay when you mess up your A defense and have to switch into 3-3.
Yep.
You don't have those ults. And Paris, talk about knowing your limits. Doesn't matter if they lose a player, they still have a massive ult advantage. They are not afraid to take that fight and then win it through at a player down.
Brilliant stuff from Paris Eternal. We'll see what Gladiators can do when we get back. You know, you and I were chatting a little bit during that 30-second break, Monty, and we're like, you know, even though Paris was a man down after losing Cruz, they know that, you know, if this match has shown them anything, they can just walk up on Roar and kill him pretty much at will, it seems like.
The thing is, you don't need a Lucio to fight that. Like, what is Lucio going to do in that circumstance?
He's going to cheer you up like the happy bard he is.
Well, think about it. He already used the speed boost to get them right until into the choke point, right? So there is no real use for the speed boost if you're already fighting on the point itself.
True.
You're losing a very small amount of healing and damage. You know, maybe you can get that big boot, but when they already have all of their ults available, Lucio did his job. So that was actually the best hero the Gladiators could have lost first is their own Lucio, or Paris could have lost first with their own Lucio.
You don't have that soundtrack, though, and to me, that makes the biggest difference. Is the DJ in the mix? If he's not, I guess you can win anyway, but it feels just a little bit worse in your heart.
I mean, the DJ was definitely not in the mix of that fight. It turned out A-okay if you're Paris.
Gladiators on the attack now, going in with the Reinhardt 3-3 themselves. Paris Eternal responding in kind on their defense. Gladiators rotating around the left side, as we often see. Cruz looking for that boop, didn't find the one on Roar he was looking for. Finzi going in anyway, trying to separate Roar, they do it. That is what you're looking for, but Ben Best finding himself a little bit out of position as well. Both Reinhardts down. Now the fight gets a bit interesting, and Gladiators decide that's a fight they just don't want to take.
No, you can't move through that choke point right now against the charged up Zarya. The Matrix isn't going to stop the laser, so basically your D.Va is just going to get demeched in that scenario. You need Roar to be there.
Sure enough, Ben Best scrambling to get back to this defense. Here he is just in time as they try to go under the bridge here. Now rotating around onto the high ground. Paris ready in that room, firing as they go through the door. Now they're going to wait. They don't want Gladiators to drop on top of them, so they're just giving Gladiators a chance to get on there first. They can always respond.
Yeah, watch out for Soon here, who does have nearly
Cruz?
a Graviton surge.
Whoa!
Cruz plays it. A little bit risky.
That was good for Gladiators, though. They were ready for that Lucio. They had that shield bash locked and loaded. Now the grab comes in. A nice charge from Ben Best onto Roar here. Hydration, trying to keep people alive more on the Gladiator side. There goes Soon. And Paris throwing all their ultimates out right now. Nico with the rally, trying to keep his team in the fight here. Gladiators, though, have the man advantage for the moment. Sherford waiting for that grab. Paris gonna go ahead and rotate around on the high ground. Oh, Roar. It's okay.
Starting to take this point, though, and now Sherford's the one with the Graviton advantage. Paris being very cautious, knowing that they could get stuck with that. They need Soon to make it back, and he almost has.
Finzi a little bit low. Sound barrier comes in just in time to keep that D.Va in the mech. Sureforce's grab gets eaten again, though. Finzi with another big play on that D.Va. Roar comes in with the Earth Shatter. Doesn't hit anybody, though. Void manages to find Cruz, so maybe with Hip and that Transcendence they can respond. Ben Best gets hydration. It's going to be Gladiators, though. D-making Finzi, D-lifing Ben Best. There goes Soon, and finally, LA Gladiators will have the fight they need to finish off point A.
That was a little bit worrisome, but there was one charge, mega charge Zarya at the start of that fight in Sherford, and one who was walking back from spawn in Soon.
Yeah.
But Paris does manage to force a lot of those ults out of the Gladiator. Sherford nearly had another grab, though, thanks to how much damage that he was dealing in that last fight.
I mean, at the very least, Gladiators are guaranteed to have less time in the time bank now, even if they take both points here. Already below Paris just now.
Ben Best threw out the shatter there.
Oh, Ben Best! He got stunned, got eliminated by the Gladiators immediately, and they're going to storm their way onto point B. They might have less time in the time bank, but it might not be by much.
And those little positional errors, Ben Best was slowing them down with the shatter, but they didn't demech Void, who is the one stunned.
Ben Best tries to go to the Hammond, just ends up like a disco ball dropped from the ceiling of the saddest dance arena
In Paris.
in Paris. That's right, there you go.
The disappointing discotheque, we call it.
Disco disappointment. Disco doom. Here he comes again. Ben Best trying to live longer this time on the Hammond as Gladiators try to finish off point B. Gonna get those kills though, and this is gonna be the Gladiators. Clean it up as soon as they can remove Cruz from the equation. There he goes. And wow, that's a lot of time being bought by Paris, but Gladiators do take both points. Point B was so fast.
It was very fast. Thanks to Sherford getting that grab again so quickly, and Ben Best trying to stall for a little bit, ends up getting punished and putting Paris in a 5v6 scenario.
That's right, going into extra rounds here on Anubis when we get back. 2-2 on Temple of Anubis. It was a long haul on point A for Gladiators, but they got the job done. That said, still a little bit less time in the time bank for them. They're going to start this off with 4:16. Paris Eternal a little bit higher on 5:07. Gladiators on the attack first because of that.
I think Gladiators actually a little bit lucky to get as much time as they have in the time bank right now.
Totally agree, yeah. With as rough as point A was, they really made up for it on B. They needed to.
They're going to go for the same attack one more time. They tried to go left, but Paris played the choke better. I assume they're going to try and take right and go the high ground approach again this time.
It's looking that way. That's the way that led them to victory eventually last time. Discord onto Big Goose. You really want to remove that Lucio. Paris Eternal getting really aggressive here right now. Oh, there goes Big with Ben. Guess. He gets him. Man, it's like Duck Hunt, only it's geese.
Damn, they coming in too with some of these fire strikes, and they're playing very well against the defensive matrix from the Gladiators, waiting till Void doesn't have it available anymore. Means Ben Best already has doubled the ult charge on the Reinhardt compared to Roar.
Yep. Ben Best getting a little bit low, gets healed up though. Cruz looking for the boop, trying to get people off that bridge. He does just that. That's going to force Paris into a position where maybe they can get aggressive onto the Gladiators. Retreat up the stairs, Roar a little bit separated, gets back to his Brigida just in time. Close call, but they keep the Reinhardt alive. Gladiators now regrouping.
I mean, you'll notice the way the Paris is moving. They're just forcing the Gladiators into all these choke points. Now they have to come down this staircase. That's going to be really unpleasant for the Gladiators. Sherfor somehow stays alive, but hydration is not.
Hydration, they go into the wood chipper, and Paris Eternal just wrecks Gladiators as they come down the stairs. Not even a tick taken by LA.
I mean, Paris is just so good at controlling space.
Oh, Void.
With this composition, Void going to be very sad, as that is a late stagger kill.
That's rough, man. I mean, that's another respawn timer that Gladiators going to have to wait for. It's another, like, 8 seconds off the clock. It's tough.
Here we are, trying to wait for their diva to come back once again. Paris feeling great because all they had to use was that rally. Should be about 5 ults for Paris, 6 coming in for Gladiators soon, but it's going to be even enough.
Here we go again. Earthshatter comes in. Do you even need the grab? I don't think so, man. Hydration down already. Roar tries to make up for it with a charge, but Paris is ready, and they are once again looking like they are in firm control of point A.
And Paris is doing a great job of mixing up their looks on defense. They're saying, okay, now we're going to play you for the corner because we know you're going right. We know you're trying to take that high ground.
Yeah.
Guess what? We'll just shatter straight around the corner. Just a trickle of ultimates, 1 by 1 from Paris, but they only need 1 per fight to shave even more time off the clock.
I mean, Paris with a major ultimate advantage right now, too. Gladiators, minute 44 on the clock. They got to make something happen big. Nice Zarya shield on Ben Best as he goes down. Roar, shield getting low. Might be eliminated already. Either way, doesn't have a whole lot of HP left. All right, there's a grab, comes in. It's going to be the Transcendence. Can Void get anybody with that self-destruct? The boop comes in, but the sound barrier there just in time. Ben Best responding with a kill onto Big Goose. Damage from Paris and the self-destruct in that fight as well. Cruz keeping Sherfor in the fight too, pooping people back into his team and allowing Paris to get that clean finish to that fight.
Gladiators still opting into this matchup, Doa. They've already spent 3 minutes trying to take point A. They've never really had a convincing ultimate advantage because of how well Paris is playing.
1 minute left for the Gladiators to get any sort of progress on point A. They do not even have a tick yet. They're going to try to go left. This is what they originally didn't want to do. Paris ready to just rotate around for this one.
Oh man, they're playing in this choke again. Don't know what to say about this one. We'll see if they can break through.
Here we go. Rallies coming in on both sides here. Nico low. He gets taken out. That's a 6v5 for the Gladiators. Soon having to back way off low health as well. They lose Nico, and it looks like once again the Gladiators finally getting this one. They're going to be in the grab, but no kills out of that one. I think that's one that Soon is going to want back.
Oh boy, I don't know about that grab, Noah. That's something you'd love to have when Sherfor is going to have it on the next point B attack here.
I mean, that might have actually given Gladiators point B. They are going to get a little bit more time, and without a grab to worry about on the defensive side, the Gladiators can be so aggressive here.
Oh, yes, they can. They charge right on through the choke point. That time, Nico getting caught out, which led to the Paris Eternal getting rolled up as they backed off to the point. And look at the Gladiators coming in now, filled with ultimates.
You got to go for it. You just can't lose Roar. That's the key. you go in and you remember to keep your Reinhardt from dying. The keys to victory for Gladiators to take point B here.
Trying to set up his shatter.
Oh, Big
no!
Goose! Big Goose looking for the big plays, but he gets cooked, and now it's a 5v6 again. Paris, a little bit less to defend. Benbest drops Ear Shatter, no kills out of that one. Here comes the self-destructs. Transcendence used on both sides. Now Void tosses his Div ultimate out. They do catch Cruz with it. Lucio out of commission again. Gladiators, it's a brawl. Everybody going different directions. Players dropping left and right, but it is the Gladiators looking for more of those kills. That was a great charge from Benbest, though. Void does get demected. Now he comes in with the Earth Shatter. Gladiators falling apart at the very end, and they took point A, but they are getting nothing on B.
They are not getting a darn thing, Doa. And now the Gladiators have to decide whether or not they're going back to the Orisa, Junkrat, and Widow defense on A to see if they can full hold. Still a chance for them to win here.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the play right now because you need to hold strong on A. Might as well go ahead and play for this win.
Wow. We were worried about Paris Eternal going into that point B defense. They lost the Graviton Surge, soon kind of throwing it away at the end of A, but then Gladiators throwing something a bit more valuable away in terms of their main support, Big Goose.
That was rough. Cruz managed to find that elimination while they were trying to rotate around the side of the point. Well played by Cruz.
Yeah.
And let's see what they're going to do. They are, in fact, looks like they're not going to go for that defense. So let me tell you why I like it. So this looks like they're probably going to play for a draw here more than anything else, because eventually you have to believe that Paris is going to figure out a way, considering they've had the superior ult economy management so far, to break through A.
How does that work? How does Hammond bounce like that?
Who knows?
I don't understand.
Just
What is he
jumping up and
made
down?
out of? It looks like metal, but I'm not sure. Void contemplating life.
He's like, this is where I got demeched on point A defense.
I remember this spot. I came back here to conquer my fears. Way to go, Void. That's what you got to do. Soon looking for the shots, going high. Why not fire into the defensive matrix? He's going to swap out, it looks like. A lot of change repairs coming in. Ooh, Nico over to the Pharah. I like it.
Yep.
Bold. And there is Benbest on the Hammond. Finzi over on the Sombra. They are really changing things up for this attack here.
So what Paris is confident in is that this is going to work in the next minute or two, and then they're going to get, 3 minutes left to play the 3-3 on the second point.
Yeah. That's the plan anyway. A little bit of time to build up those ultimates. Benbest goes in on the Hammond. And soon we know how good this guy is on the Tracer. Didn't get to see him play it a whole lot yet this season, but he's got a history with this hero.
Certainly does, and Ian said, I'm going to try and play the point right
Nico.
now. Oh,
Finzi's down.
Jazz.
Big pick by Finzi. They get rid of the Zenyatta, and that's going to be, again, the go button for Paris. Now Nico able to free fire a lot easier without having to worry about that Orb of Discard. Big bounce from Hammond up on the high ground. Nico coming in with the barrage. Got to watch out for that Zarya. Wait for the defensive matrix to be down. There it is. Oh, Void still has it anyway. Gets a kill, doesn't matter. Nico taken out eventually, but getting rid of the Reinhardt is key. Surefour down as well without that Zarya. Paris Eternal with a big opportunity to finish off A, maybe even a bit quicker than they expected. Nico gets res too, but Cruz pays for it with his life. Soon trying to protect his teammate. Void demeched. Here comes the pulse bomb now. He doesn't even need to save that one, man. Gets hydration with it. Nice pick, and that's going to be Paris taking A.
And there you go, Noah. 3 minutes, nearly 4 for the Paris Eternal. They'll keep Finzi on the Sombra. They'll switch everybody else out, most likely.
Yep.
See if they can win with an EMP or at least force some ults out from the Gladiators. And then they should be very confident of taking that next tick. I love what Paris did, the adjustment that they made.
That's the thing. You only need that one tick. And like you said with Gladiators, they played that 3-3 starting out on the defense so that they would have some ultimates for this.
And by the way, that's why we often see Winston 3-3 defense on point A, because otherwise, if you don't have that mobility, some of these heavy DPS compositions can run circles around you.
Speaking of running circles around the opponents, Finzi waiting in the wings with that EMP. Benbest down early. They're going to save everything here. Yeah, well, Hip used the Transcendence, actually. All right. Well, they probably would have preferred to save that Zenyatta ultimate, but it's one that builds fairly quickly. They still do have 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Good start for Gladiators, though.
Not the biggest deal in the world either. They still, like you say, have the EMP. to use in this next engagement that will guarantee for some ults from the Gladiators. You'll notice Shaz has switched over to the Ana due to the fact that Pensi's not playing Diva on this one, so they can get a lot of value out of the Biotic Grenade, just chucking it down on the point. Getting a lot of extra healing or anti-healing in there as needed. EMP creeping around right now, trying to find
Sneaky Pensi. Roar uses that shatter. Paris not phased by it. They go into the EMP. Hydration down immediately. But crucially, the sound barrier does come out for Gladiators. They have a chance here. They throw out the grab. Can they get anyone with Void Self-Destruct? Not quite. Benbest, though, down to Roar anyway. So Gladiators still getting the kills they need. Oh, and Void eats Soon's grab. Everything working out great for the Gladiators right now.
Why did Soon grab at the end of that fight is the big question.
I don't know, man. It seemed like that one was over for Paris, but he went for it anyway. The draw looking more and more like a real possibility here on Anubis.
Yeah, Shaz threw out the nano boost at the end too. I think he just wanted to use it because he's anticipating Finzi's going to switch back to the Diva, and that's immediately what's going to happen. On to the Zenyatta for Shaz right now.
Yep.
Another great reason to play Zen, or to play Ana instead of Zen against that EMP is also you just have better survivability.
Yeah.
You're not going to get your shields removed and one-clipped by a Sombra. And now Paris Eternal moving around. I bet they wish they had that EMP now. That could have been a game changer.
Well, they've still got Benbest Earth Shatter. He's gotten a lot of those done. Reinhardt mind games in full swing. Benbest, ooh, he got kind of moved. Earth Shatter not working out for either Reinhardt, really. Roar down, though. They did manage to get him a little bit up front. Vinci demeched here. Hip trying to support the push as Paris goes all the way back to spawn here. Shaz down. Hip free firing into the Gladiators, and maybe they have an opportunity here. Vinci did go down. Paris, though, have the numbers advantage. They only need that one pick. Got to avoid that self-destruct. That's not a problem with it sitting up on the high ground. Grab kind of thrown away. Nobody getting caught by that one. They will take Roar out of the Hammond really quick.
And there's another grab here for Soon, excuse me, Short 4 rather.
Oh, sound barrier now for Gladiators, though. They couldn't pair anything out of the grab, but the sound barrier might do it. And Gladiators, they are turning it around. Wow, Paris. I think Paris getting a little bit desperate here.
Void also had the self-destruct, which allowed him to get his mech back to stall out the point for the rest of the Gladiators to get there. That combined with Roar switching to the Wrecking Ball bought them just enough time to hold on.
Paris with one last attack. Remember, again, they only need one tick. They don't even need to take the point. But Gladiators have eaten up 4 minutes off the time bank. What a defense for these guys. If they can hold here, that'll be incredible. Cruz waiting for it, fighting Lucio to Lucio up on the wall. It's like the Matrix in here. He's nearly got that sound barrier though. Rally comes in. Cruz with the sound barrier. Can he get it off in time? There goes Roar. Oh, they got the Reinhardt. Paris with a chance here. Big opportunity for the Eternal. Now Gladiators outside looking in. Self-destruct comes in, just zoning the rest of LA away from the point. Void has to fly in, uses that self-destruct, inopportune time. Everybody lives, but now the grab comes in on the Gladiator side. Paris weathers the storm, though. Now they need the kills. They're halfway there to that one charge. Roar gets hit. He manages to respawn and charge him just in time. Soon very low, throws out the grab. Void low, there goes Big Goose. Maybe they got a chance, but Roar comes in with another Earth Shatter. Are you kidding me? They actually did it. It's a draw. Insane fight at the end, but Gladiators just managed to scrap it out.
If Roar doesn't hit with that charge, I think Paris win that clutch coming out of spawn.
Wow, what a series. Two very even teams. We're coming up with map 4 right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
What a way to kick off our Saturday. Man, what a great series of Overwatch we've seen between Paris Eternal and LA Gladiators. About as tight as it can be. So tight, in fact, that the last map was just a draw. Nobody won that last one. It was a tie.
Yeah.
That means no map 5 out of this series. It all comes down to our next map to decide who wins this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a bit surprised. I think Eternal probably should have been able to take that, especially with how
they had 4
convincing-
minutes for B to get 1 tick. Yeah,
Yeah,
they should have taken that one.
They
yeah.
made some mistakes, which was uncharacteristic when it came to playing the 3-3, whereas when they mixed it up, having the Pharah in there, coming in with the Tracer, easy capture on A, and I hope we continue to see some of that sniper play on Dorado. Still should be quite viable on point A.
Yeah.
And I think the team that has something else to offer us is going to be winning this next map, something besides the standard 3-3.
I mean, when you're talking about adaptation and flexibility in compositions, I feel like naturally you'd want to go the Gladiators route with that. But then again, I mean, on Anubis, we did see quite a change in composition from Paris too. So I think there's more to this team than meets the eye too.
I think sometimes you can tell that teams are a bit rusty on non-3-3 execution because Gladiators spent all last season playing that Orisa Junk Widow defense, and they should know better, Noah. They should know better.
They should be ashamed of themselves. They're grounded. Here we go. Gladiators on the attack here on Dorado. Looks like it's going to be 3-3 from both teams with that Reinhardt again. We'll see if Aurora can put on a better performance here. Benbest really low. Ooh, Void. They got him. Hydration down too, though. Extending to get that kill on the Reinhardt. They get Nico, so good start for LA.
Yeah, still though, I mean, Shaz just fragging out from the back line
Shaz.
now. As soon as that Reinhardt goes down, there's nothing to block those left and right clicks coming in from the Zenyatta.
That's the thing, man. I mean, if you unleash Zenyatta, he might be like a tranquil monk, but he can put out the damage.
Yeah,
3 kills for Shaz in the end of that one.
Yeah, losing hydration, they're not the biggest deal. You'll take that trade if you can get the enemy Reinhardt in this composition almost every time.
I mean, usually if you are having trouble with hydration in real life, you die too, but not the Gladiators. They can survive. They're like one of those like frogs that dries up in the summer and lives underground.
Gladiators don't mind the dehydration.
I guess so. Oh, soon. Gets taken out by Void self-destruct. He caught Finzi with it too. Paris already on the back foot at the beginning of the second fight. A stun onto Roar, but I feel like he can handle the pressure. Maybe not. Paris Eternal turning this one around anyway. Despite the early losses from Void's self-destruct, they kept it together, won the fight.
Yeah, it's so tricky with the amount of pressure that Paris is going to put on your tank line. And a part of that, too, we have to talk about is Cruz. He likes to go pretty deep into the enemy composition and start pushing the other team's tanks into his own.
Yeah.
So keep an eye here on Cruz. Definitely one of the most aggressive Lucio players. Also dies among the most Lucio players, but he also has some of the most final blows. So he gives it, he takes.
Hey, that's right. High risk, high reward. I like it. Doesn't bother me one bit. He's like the Zangief of Overwatch. I like that play style.
Truly, when I look at Cruz, I am instantly reminded of Zangief.
That's right. You just look at me and think final Atomic Buster for sure. Gladiators, a lot of ultimates coming into this next fight. Surefour's grab, foremost among them. A lot of grabs getting eaten in this series today, though. You know Finzi's watching out for that one.
There's definitely been a graviton buffet in this matchup.
Sure has.
And now players both being quite cautious. Rally comes in for the Gladiators.
Grab gets used by Paris. They're going to send in that self-destruct. Ooh, right on target, but no kills out of that one. Shaz forced into the Transcendence 2, though. Roar does get a nice charge on a Nico. And now the sound barrier. Ooh, Benbest with a big shatter, but they had this sound barrier. Hip gets the kill onto Roar anyway. It's another one of those back and forth fights between these two teams, and this time it's going to be Gladiators coming out on top.
And they'll be able to push it through A, no problem, after they
why
mop
not?
up Finzi. And there you go, Gladiators victory, only coming out with a self-destruct though, so throwing quite a bit at that last engagement. Paris Eternal can't survive even though their support ultimates come down. Paris should have plenty of opportunity to take this high ground though, and maintain that advantage. Nico, a little bit
railings.
of scouting right there. Does hate railings.
Everybody hates railings in Overwatch. Die, railings. Die.
They need to be able to get that angle for the Zarya. Instead, they might just drop straight down.
That's right. OSHA is coming. Look out. Next to. Well, it's going to be a self-destruct. Hydration. Well, manages to get Nico with the whip shot. And Void's going to follow up with one on the Benbest. They want to get this payload moving. They want to move it fast. Forté turning around, barely charged up enough to grab some kills. And Paris just kind of falling apart. Decided early on, I think, that they wanted to save the ultimates for the next one at the end of B, but it's looking pretty good for Gladiators so far in this attack.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised Paris wanted to drop onto the payload so quickly right there when they could have engaged in a successful exchange of pokes because they have the high ground to hide behind. Instead, they cede the high ground over to the Gladiators, and Forté is standing up there with the Graviton. Paris, they've got to win this fight.
Yeah, they do. You can't give a team that much time going into C on Dorado. Waiting for it now. Waiting out the rally from Paris. Kind of letting that extra armor fade away a little bit.
Well, it's going to be a while, though. I don't think they're going to wait out the whole rally here. We'll have to see what their decision is going to be. It's going to be some high ground poking. Okay, so they're maintaining the high ground, just setting the tank down to pressure the cart. That'll force Void down in turn. We're going to get a little bit by bit here. And now that means Gladiators has come all the way down with Void low.
Oh, all right. A couple people knocked down by that shatter. Hip there with the Transcend. It's going to be the sound barrier on the Gladiator side. They try to stay alive. Here comes the self-destruct. Benbest does get hydration with the charge, actually. Zenyatta can't save you from that one. Paris Eternal on the point. And now Cruz coming in from behind. Was looking for the boop onto Roar to maybe knock him into his team. Didn't quite find it, though. But crucially, Paris winning that fight and saving some ultimates as well.
Yeah, and when you see some of these engages, though, that are just these poke wars across the chasm on the high ground, chipping out one tank can be hugely impactful because your Inspire is not active on your Brigida, so you really lack the healing to quickly heal up, and that means you can't contest the payload.
Yeah, Brigida needs to hit things to heal. Soon gets caught up in the grab. A lot of people are nice sound barrier. Void throws a self-destruct in there anyway. No kills out of that one. It's going to be Gladiators, though, coming on top in this fight. Just a little bit too much for Paris to handle. A lot of damage came in at once, and the best thing for Gladiators is that they were able to do that without, again, dedicating those ultimates to it.
Yeah, they had to drop the grab on that one, but they'll be feeling okay, especially if they get some of these eliminations on the split spot.
Wow, Benbest and Nico just walking a bit too far forward there.
I mean, that was their spawn. Like, what can you do, right?
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah, I didn't see they got split spawned there.
Getting split spawned, and so they can't actually deal with the pressure that the Gladiators put on, which means extra payload movement for the Gladiators.
True enough. Why did they build that door there in this building? Its only purpose is to slow things down. I mean, I think it'll load in there. I don't know. Roar drops the shatter there. It's going to be a response from Benbest. Shaw's knocked down. They save him, though. He doesn't die. Mima avoiding back lines of Paris Eternal. A little bit in trouble here trying to do the damage that he can. Soon really, really low. Ooh, they get Soon. The Zarya down on the Paris side, and that's going to be the key for Gladiators to push ahead. Hydration with a couple kills right there. Gladiators going to get some more distance. We talked about it already today, man. If the Zarya is the first person on your team to die, you only have a little over a 5% chance to win that team fight statistically, and Paris suffering there.
Yeah, it's hard to win team fights when your player dies first anyway. Even the best teams will only have about a 30% win rate, but...
Zarya especially, though.
Yeah, Zarya, it dwindles precipitously in this meta.
Yeah, you lose the damage, you lose those shields, crucially. There's a lot of stuff that Zarya brings to a fight in Overwatch right now. Paris trying to weather the LA Gladiators storm right now as Gladiators trying to finish this one off. They wait for the defense matrix to be down. They throw in the grab. That's going to be the response to the self-destruct. Both Divas picking up one. Soon and Shaz going down. Now the sound barrier's coming out for the teams. Benbest drops another Earth Shatter. Big Goose drop. Finally finished off by Benbest with that follow-up charge. Now Forté in a lot of trouble, and Paris Eternal at the last moment are going to hold, and there are only 20 seconds remaining for the Gladiators.
Paris continues to impress me with how fast they can select and burn down targets. In chaotic situations, they always seem to be on the same page about who they're focusing so that they can come out on top of these engagements. And now 5 seconds left. Gladiators desperately trying to make it to the payload.
They got a rush to get there. Luckily, Big Goose already on, gets some armor right in the end to stay alive. Benbest half health. They're going to try to rush him. They're going in with the Transcendence right now. We'll see if they can. Soon's grab gets eaten. That is big for the Gladiators. Void coming up huge again with that defense matrix. They get Benbest too. They lose Big Goose, but Gladiators might have enough. They just got to deal with the response, but there goes Nico, and they are so close to finishing off this third point. Paris on the payload again, though, and Void, ooh, he got caught by that self-destruct. Paris responding with a couple of kills. Here comes the grab now from Forté. Cruz low. Oh, crucial
just
sound
barely.
barrier. He got it off just in time. Clutch sound barrier from Cruz. What a hero, but they still need to win the fight. They got a lot to contend with. Finzi demacked.
I think that might just win the fight here for
I don't
Paris.
know.
We'll see.
I don't know, man.
Coming back.
Grab comes in again for Soon. That one did not get eaten. Hip with a couple kills, and Gladiators responding, but it's Paris able to turn it around again. This fight has been so back and forth. Throwing out, gets the stick. Goodbye, Sure-4. Boyd with the self-destruct. Oh, he fights two. What is this game right now? Paris, though, they still have the respawns. They still have the advantage. And at the end of the day, I think that's what's going to do it. Soon's got the Doom Fist out, but it's all winding down here. Roar walking in on his own, but he can't get there. Paris will barely hold.
The double bubble onto
fight.
Soon and Cruz, followed by that covered the animation for the sound barrier so
Man.
he didn't die. If that hadn't gone off, that's a Gladiators win on that map.
Oh, I need to catch my breath. I'm sure you guys do too. See you in just a moment. There's Cruz, I would say the man of the hour, at least the man of that round at the end, getting off that crucial sound barrier.
That was so crazy.
Dude, I mean, you saw the Paris Eternal just like laughing after that fight. They're like, all right, we know we shouldn't have probably got that one, but they barely pulled it out. Let's watch that one again. So you're going to see him get caught up in the grab. Look at that, 95, 96.
97. Now watch, double bubble gives him enough time to get the sound barrier and then protect him during the animation. That was
Man.
like razor's edge play there.
kidding.
If the projected barrier hadn't been there from the Zarya, never would have even gotten through that animation.
You
to
know,
get
he's
the
just
sound
like
barrier.
spamming that Q button as fast as he can. Like, come on! God, that was great. That was a great end to that round. Paris Eternal on the attack, and you know, because of where that one ended, now they don't even need to finish. They need to mostly finish, but they don't quite need to push it all the way to beat Gladiators and win this series. This match comes down to this round right now.
It certainly does, and Paris still feeling confident in the Reinhardt 3-3 mirror, as well they should, and Gladiators, they really want to play into this. I don't know if I necessarily agree with their game plan coming into this match, though.
It's brave. I mean, we haven't seen as high-level play from Aurora and the Reinhardt as Ben Best has shown us overall, but you never know. You could clutch it out. Soon trying to build up that energy, trying to build up that grab right now. They're going to get aggressive here. They've got Roar really low health. Can they finish him? Gladiators pull back. They do get the D-Mech onto Void. So even though they saved their Reinhardt, they still lost that Diva Mech, which is almost just as bad.
Oh, yeah, absolutely terrible for them. Now they can't stop any of the poke coming in from the Zarya right clicks.
Right.
And Paris has an option just to rush onto them.
Roar. Well, now he's low. Now you just jump on Roar. Yeah, there you go. Ben Best finishes him with the Fire Strike. Easy peasy there. Ooh, Hydration gets knocked down. So Shatter coming in from the Reinhardt on Paris Eternal, and Hip getting a couple kills at the end. That's going to be the end of A.
Yeah, Void gets his mech back eventually and flies off to the high ground, beats a hasty retreat back to the rest of the Gladiators. As you say, fast point A this time around. Paris, they will be holding on to all of their ultimates except the Shatter, which was just used to clean up a tad bit faster.
Sure enough. On board with Ben Best for a moment there. Reinhardt of the hour for sure. Cruz, though.
Working his way up the courthouse walls.
Yeah, wants to get
trying
that
find
boop.
He wants a boop. Hydration's there, though. He knows
Right,
the
yeah.
Cruz trick.
I mean, both these teams have watched footage of each other coming into this one. They both know that their Lucios like to get behind the tanks, get behind people, and knock them into the other team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to be ready if you're both teams, honestly, in that situation.
Hydration really picking up on the Cruz clues there.
Yeah, Cruz clues, right? So,
It's my favorite children's show.
they're even blue. What do you know? Roar gets a little bit low. Going to be the Transcendence coming in. Self-destruct time across the board. It's an ultimate fiesta. No kills out of that one, aside from Roar. Self-destruct. Not getting anything for either team there, but it's going to be Paris Eternal grinding through the Gladiators yet again. It's all cleanup here with the tanks out of the way. Clean fight for Paris. And they're going to get so much time on point C. This is the opposite of what you want to see if you're Gladiators in another split spawn coming in. Looks like they can't quite capitalize, though.
No, too many members of the Gladiators left alive. They had 4 players there. You're just not going to be able to push down somebody when you're only walking forward with 2 or 3. Instead, they wisely back off.
Ben Best, a nice shield on Surefour, actually, saving himself from getting hit by that shatter. Oh, Roar canceled during the animation, tried to throw out his own shatter, but he got stunned by the Brigida. Great play from Paris. Nico pops a rally after making the big play, but guess what? Both Reinhardts are down, and there goes Nico rather. So Gladiators coming back strong in this defensive fight, and despite Surefour falling to Cruz, that's going to be Gladiators finally getting a little bit of stability on this payload.
Yeah, Paris had already used a bunch of their abilities, though, and they have 4.5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be so easy for them to slow bleed the Gladiators out.
Then again, I remember one map ago
Anubis, yeah,
where
they made some mistakes.
There was also 4 minutes left on the end of that one where Paris had a lot of time. So we'll see. A precedent has been set, we'll say. Grab gets tossed in there by Surefour from downtown. Void throws in the Graviton Surge to poop attempt, but no kills out of that one. Now the grab for Paris, it's their turn. Can they get anything with the Diva ultimate? They do get Big Goose rather. Nico down on the side of Paris too, as the rest of Eternal pushes forward. Roar taken out once again, not able to be kept alive by his team. Gladiators responding. It's a rough day for Reinhardts. What can you say? Rough day for everybody, really.
I mean, this payload's going to keep moving, though, Dawn. That's
a little bit, yeah.
They're going to get some more distance on it regardless, because enough of the Gladiators died that they're going to have to fall back and try and play the corner right now, and they will.
Whoa!
What a stun! What a
fat
stun from
shatter
Roar.
comes out from Roar. He's like, I heard you were criticizing my Reinhardt play. Well,
allow me to shatter around this corner for you.
Let me shatter your illusions about my Reinhardt play.
Gladiators really needed that. I mean, this just gets them a little bit more time to stabilize. Now they can play choke points again.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Gladiators certainly put themselves in a position to hold this for a long time again. Paris Eternal, flashbacks of Temple of Anubis. Got to be able to, oh no, soon. I think he probably got knocked off the map there too. It's hard to say, but that's the place where it would happen if it's going to happen anywhere.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. Paris must have not been together.
Maybe we got to replay that one. Who knows?
Yeah, when they were coming back on that approach.
Yeah.
Soon was having some struggles on their last attack.
True enough.
When push came to shove. And
rotating around now. Love watching the Lucio's bounce around the high ground. Sound barrier comes in. It was Ben Best with the shatter, but didn't pick anything up. Now they're going to be trapped in the grab. Here we go. Gladiators with some kills already. Transcendence used by him. I don't know if that's the fight you want to dedicate the Transcendence to. That's a bit of a rough decision, I think, as they were not going to win that fight either way.
Now Surefour and the rest of the Gladiators not giving them an inch as we take a look at this one. Just trying to see what exactly occurred.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, did look like it was...
Yep. Slowly sliding. You know, when you fall off right there, you kind of slowly slide down the rocks, too, so it took a moment. That happens.
Hydration there with the whip shot for the environmental kill.
Whip shot.
Whip shot.
Void. Self-destruct, no kills. Shatter was dropped by Roar as well there. They're going to respond. Surefour knocked down by that one. Finzi gets demeched. Ben Best does get the kill onto Surefour, but without that Diva suit, going to be a little bit tougher to push, but they've got the big kill. Zarya down, so that's a fight that Paris knows they can win. Cruz, sound barrier, uses it to keep his tanks alive. Right back in onto Roar. There's a kill they need. There goes Hydration to the right click from Zarya, and now that payload's going to get some real distance.
Yes, it is. As soon as they clean up the mini.
Eventually.
And
right
very annoying Lucio hovering around the payload. But guess what, Doa? 3 minutes gone already. So Gladiators must be feeling pretty decent.
I mean,
that said, you're coming in to grab, you're coming in to self-destruct, you have no support ults except for that Transcendence online, which isn't going to cut out the immediate damage, the instant damage of the Diva Bomb.
They're close. They've got the ultimates to do this too. Proper execution is all Paris needs to finish off this series and take the win. They're gonna grab Finzi, tosses that self-destruct way high in the air. Oh, he gets two with it, Hydration and Roar. They couldn't quite get a beat on it, and that's Paris Eternal rolling towards a victory here. Easy block on that self-destruct from Void, easy D-Mech. Big Goose back. They're going to have some respawns, but I feel like that's all Paris needed. That one play, that one self-destruct. And it's just going to be a slow roll through the rest of Gladiators for Paris to win this series. So close, the grab gets used.
And there's a Moira on the back of the cart.
Shaz was hiding behind the cart rather. Sound barrier, they're still in it. Big Goose staying alive. Void gets demeched again. I can't believe how long they're gonna nearly force an OT, but it's not enough. Paris Eternal finally getting the win in that series, but man, doesn't get too much more shields up than that. Gladiators with a great defense. In the end though, Paris Eternal comes out on top. This is absolutely a team to watch this year.
I mean, you can't say much more. They beat London and they beat the Gladiators. They've shown that they can tussle with the very best that Overwatch League has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, the questions after the first match is like, yeah, they looked really good, but, you know, London not ending up to be the strongest opponent was we found out Gladiators was going to be their real test, and a test it was. Man, it was close, but Paris Eternal coming out on top in the end by the slimmest of margins, but you know what? A win is a win, and I think we've got a lot to look forward to from Paris.
And this meta, I don't think anybody should be trying to play them in a consistent 3-3. They're just too good.
I was going to say, yeah, it's going to be tough. We got a lot of games left in the league this year, but Paris is going to be a fun one to watch. Let's send it down to Mica, who's standing by with Cruz.
Thanks, guys. We got Cruz here. Give it up for Cruz and his amazing Lucio plays. So, you guys have been lauded kind of as the best 3-3 comp team so far. We've heard a lot about your GOATs play, but we've been seeing a lot of versatile play from you guys as well. Is this kind of proving that you're more than just 3-3, or are you just kind of becoming meta-proof at this point?
Sorry my voice is a bit gone from shouting so much, but no, I think we can play a lot. We're not just a 3-3 team. And I also don't want to like take credit for being the best 3-3 team. I think a lot of teams are really, really good, and we're just one of them. So yeah.
Also, speaking of 3-3 and speaking of your Lucio, you had a kind of game-saving sound barrier. Can you kind of walk us through that moment? And it was just so incredible. I know backstage we were all freaking out about it.
You mean on Dorado, like the last bit, right?
Yeah.
I was just screaming, I almost used a bad word there. I was just screaming, save me, save me. I have sound barrier. I had ult soon, and then I think I got bubbled, and I used it as soon as I could, so yeah.
So what you're saying is that's why your voice is gone right now?
Yeah, I was shouting a lot. Yeah, I was shouting a lot, so yeah.
All right, last question. You're going up against Atlanta Reign next. They've been kind of scary. You know, people are really hyping them up here. Do you have any thoughts of how you're going to go into this? How are you guys going to prepare?
Just focus to Fran. He's so good. Just get him.
All right, you heard it here first. Going to focus to Fran. It's going to be a great match. But for now, we're going to kick it back to the casters. Everybody make some noise.
There you go. Wow, how about that Paris Eternal? Already with the game plans for Atlanta, right? Just killed her Fran. Honestly, I can't argue with that too much. That's not a bad strategy. But hey, you gave it away, Cruz. Now they know.
I don't think that's their actual game plan.
I don't think so either. That's probably not it. Let's take a look at our player of the match. It is going to be the one, the only, Finzi. That's right. Eating a lot of grabs. I would say playing very well. Got some of the crucial self-destruct kills at the end on Dorado for the go-ahead victory for Paris Eternal. Great day for the Diva.
I do think it's a little bit hard in this metagame to try and pick out individual players of the match because it is so, even by Overwatch standards and all the metas we've seen, team-oriented. Yeah. And you could hear Cruz down there with his voice hoarse from the shot calling. That is more important than it has ever been, I think, in the Overwatch meta.
I agree. And I mean, 3 ultimates negated. That's still a great stat to come out of a 4-map series with the Diva, but you are totally right. And I mean, you look at this guy, but then you also think, wow, Ben Best really coming up really big. And just as far as the team effort goes, you can't go in and kill a Reinhardt solo, right? You need the team to execute properly to do that. They did it over and over against Roar. So yeah, just more of what we saw in the first great coordination from Paris.
I am a little bit surprised about what we saw from the Gladiators, though. This is a team that we know to be so creative in their planning and their strategies, and I just don't think trying to play Paris in a 3-3 Reinhardt mirror was really the way to go, yet they kept trying it. They kept it so close, but in the end, they couldn't pull out the win.
Yep, for now, Finzi the MVP from Omen by HP. We'll see who takes it next time around, but, you know, like you said, it's a team effort. There you go.
It certainly is.
Fusion versus Fuel up next, guys. Don't go anywhere. Lots more Overwatch League waiting for you. We're only just getting started here on a beautiful Saturday in the Blizzard Arena. Quick break. We'll see you for the next match.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.